Why don't we jump to some movie talk before we dive into the Emmys? This movie, Searching, Anish Chiganti wrote and directed this, 92% Rotten Tomatoes. I was so surprised to see that because I hadn't really heard much about this. Mm-hmm. And then I get to the theater and I'm basically watching someone Google search the whole time, and I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be tough. And somehow this ended up being maybe one of the most gripping movies I've seen this year. It stars John Cho, Deborah Messing, Michelle Law plays Margot, the girl who disappears in this. I'm not giving too much away, and we'll tell you when we're gonna go full spoilers. But just overall reactions to Searching as a movie and as a concept.
Yeah, like you said, it's so unconventional. It's Tyler shot through point of view screens, smartphones, webcams, FaceTime, security cameras, etc. Right? And at first you're like, this will get old, this will get gimmicky. It doesn't. It's really smartly constructed the way this movie flows, and I think that reason alone is why I would recommend this to anyone. It's like, it's like a mystery thriller or crime thriller, but it's shot in this unconventional way. Like, for that alone, go see it. But on top of that, it's also, like you said, really gripping, and I think it has great twists and is very effective.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the movie totally works.
Yeah, the movie absolutely works. I think we both recommend to go see it. If you haven't seen it, we're probably going to get a little spoilery here in a minute. So I would probably recommend stopping, going and seeing it and coming back. So talk to me about your guy, John Cho. He's having a pretty big year. He's in Aquarius earlier in the year. Now he's in this.
Gemini, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, he was a supporting role in Gemini earlier in the year, which is a mystery movie we talked about earlier on the pod, Nowstalgia pod. Check that out. Love that movie. He was also in Columbus, which is a small movie that came out last year. I believe it's on Hulu right now. Check that out. He's the co-lead in that. And it's cool seeing John Cho. He's picking these smaller projects, and Searching, I think, is really exciting because you mentioned Anish Chiganti. This is his directorial debut. He used to work at the Google Creative Lab in New York City, and he got hired by Google after making that Seeds Google Glass commercial earlier in the 2010s. And then he wrote this screenplay with the producer of the film, one of his buddies. And it was originally going to be a short film. Then they pitched it to studios, and they said, no, we want to make it a feature. And shout out Sony for picking this up and seeing this. And, they financed it. And not only that, they helped to get it to Sundance, and obviously it took off. But he got John Cho in his first movie made in this way. I think it's quite the success story. But I was surprised. Like, obviously, I knew there was some Sundance buzz. I knew it had the unconventional nature to it. But I wasn't expecting it to be as thrilling and as I didn't see a lot of twists coming. I really didn't. I guess in hindsight maybe you could see them more, but I thought it was really well told mystery.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point to the twist, I think obviously after seeing it, you kind of look at like the scene where they're FaceTiming and her son walks in and she's like, let me deal with this. And I was like, it's kind of a weird thing to say at the time, but I was like, okay. And like, that is an obvious, clue to everything.
And the marijuana in the very beginning.
Yeah. Although I gotta be honest, I was sitting there, I was like, this gotta be marijuana. And then how shady the brother got though in that scene, I was like, oh no, this can't be. Really well acted. And I also feel like this is going to be like a template for how people use social media in movies. It's kind of hard to show how people use the internet now in movies and film, just in culture in general, because it's such a personal experience, and it's not really fun to watch. Like I wouldn't want to watch someone just scroll through their Facebook or search on Google, but they did it in a way that really, I think, will influence other filmmakers moving forward. Although my one gripe is no one FaceTimes this much.
That was my take too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of FaceTiming. There's a lot of
FaceTiming strangers.
FaceTiming on your desktop computer in the bedroom. Like there was a lot of like, hoops to jump through. But it also kind of speaks to the strength of the screenplay. Yeah. And you listen to Anish talk about it. Like he basically said that they didn't use like Final Draft, the default program for writing screenplays. Mm-hmm. They didn't use that till the very end because they had to basically write their own like screenplay / storyboard because they had to write like all of that social media or internet, whatever the screens were going to be. They had to write all that out in some kind of screenplay form. So they basically invented their own like weird storyboard screenplay hybrid to make this movie because like they just had to create their own language to explain the screen, right?
Yeah.
So they had like, and then like, remember when he buys the security cameras, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that was the only option, right? There was no other way to get a screen in that scene, right? That he had to do that. So it's like it's fine, but yeah. A lot of FaceTime.
Yeah, a lot of FaceTime. I thought for sure they were going to break away from it at some point just because there's so many things that happen without the technology, like when he goes and confronts that kid and punches him. But I still think they pulled it off for sure. Like you said, really well written. I'm interested to see what Chiganti does moving forward because he's obviously very talented, very creative. But I also feel like this isn't the type of thing that you can replicate and make other movies this way. So I think his next film would probably be a true test of his inventiveness and also his real like chops as a director. Any other thoughts? What did you think of Deborah Messing?
Good.
Yeah,
good heel turn too.
I was about to say Grace still got the chops, man.
Yeah, and I think Anish already has another screenplay in the work, so it sounds like he's going to be a rising filmmaker. Good for him. Quite the win to leave Google and have your first feature be so successful.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this movie, and we talked about 8th Grade from Bo Burnham earlier in the year. 2 movies that really handle modern internet use / social media really smartly, So
absolutely
here for that.